Welcome to the Mission Go podcast, where we sit down with leaders in our communities and businesses to talk about what inspires them to go build something bigger than themselves. We want you to be inspired and you to take on your own personal mission also. Let's go, baby. I am here with Patrick Daggone Get It. Just get the done. Neill.
Yes, sir.
President of Bridge Title.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's been too long. I feel like I haven't seen you in person in like a minute.
Dude, last time I saw you,
I had hair?
you had hair.
I've been getting that a lot lately. Like, I think I started shaving it, I don't know, 3 months ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And I get it a lot. Like,
Well, it looks better this way. You are encouraging me with.
I mean, I never noticed because you may be a touch taller than me.
I'm a lot taller than you.
Yeah.
I was probably like 2 or 3 feet taller, literally.
And you are also maybe letting your Irish come out with this because you're definitely not 2 or 3 feet taller.
I am.
Maybe by a few inches.
Okay.
So I had hair. It's been a minute. I love what you're doing on social media.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, dude. So, like, we go so far back, dude. Like, I have known you. We were just talking about it, like, since 2009.
Yeah.
So that is a minute.
2 years after I started my company.
Yeah.
Like, literally started in 07, got punched in the nose in 08
Yeah.
by the market. 09 came around, and I feel like 09, everyone was starting to, like, just tread water. Like, okay,
Yeah.
market's terrible. Like, what are we doing in this market? How do we operate in this market? And I met you. You were at Wells at the time.
I was
Redskins
definitely
fan.
at Wells. I was a Redskins fan.
Me too.
I still am a Redskins fan, but they don't exist anymore.
No, like, how do you? That's an interesting like segue as a Redskin fan. I kind of feel like the team left me. I didn't leave the team.
Yeah, exactly.
But now I'm like totally not really invested.
I don't really watch football much anymore,
Yeah.
but I do feel like because the team left me, like
It was my out.
I'm open to whatever team would like to court me.
So now you're open for NFL dating.
I'm open for NFL dating. Yeah, as long as their team logo doesn't have a blue star.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I could never. I don't even feel like I could go NFC East.
Really?
Like, there's no team in the NFC East that I could ever feel good about. Like, my wife's from Green Bay. I could still stay in the NFC.
So Kim's from New York, so she's definitely Giants girl.
You could go Jets.
Nah, she's Giants girl. Like I had to get her Giants earrings. It hurt. It did hurt. I forget what the event was.
Paid money.
I remember what the event was. It was, unfortunately, it was a funeral for a friend of ours who was a big Redskins fan. And she was like...
It was her ode to like one last memory of me throwing it in your face?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So you got her some Giants earrings. She wore the Redskins jersey, right? Because that's what they wanted for that.
And then she had to like throw some love on the ears.
A little love on the ears, yeah.
Yeah, it's been one of the first things that I feel like we did outside of business is we went to a Redskin game.
We did.
It was a good time. It was like another life.
That was so long ago, man. That was
It had to be like 09.
It was me, you, and Chris. Who else was there?
Chris, did he bring his son? It might have been his son.
Yes.
And his son was a Cowboy fan. Remember?
Yes.
It was a Cowboy Redskin game.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was the year we had season tickets. That's when you know the market was on its way back up.
Yeah.
Because before that,
Because you could afford season tickets.
There was no chance starting out that we were affording season tickets. But from Wells, man, we did a ton of stuff together.
Yeah. I mean, our offices were like 3 doors down, it feels like. It was really super, super close. I think that Wells Fargo branch it's defunct now. It's gone.
I don't even know. Does Wells Fargo even have a mortgage division locally anymore?
Not to my knowledge, man. I mean, there might be somebody out there. If they are, let me know. But I think they've shifted most of their stuff to like retail, like just internal.
Yeah, we were young. Like, I look back, like, man, we were young.
We were super young. So what are you, 17 years in the business? Mm-hmm. 17 years in the business. Just really within the last 3 months?
Social media?
Yeah.
No, like a month.
A month.
Like,
okay.
We're like celebrating 4 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Like, shout out to all like 107 followers of Bridge Title.
Yeah, let's go. 107, baby.
We're good on Facebook. We're better on Facebook, but we're trying to grow the Instagram
Gotcha.
side of things.
So how does that one, what inspired you to start making that move towards just kind of using social media to get your presence out there, right? And then what does that startup look like for you, just to inspire others who are thinking that they can't do it?
Sure. Well, I mean, I know my experience was driven even with you. Remember, I was like, I think you should do videos. Like, I'm starting to see like when people do videos, like you have the personality. I think you should do this. This was never a thought of like, oh, as a title company owner, I should really maybe do this thing too.
We're really good at giving people advice that we should do ourselves but don't want to.
100%. Like I was like, no one wants to look at my ugly mug on a camera.
Right.
Like that's a bad idea.
Right.
Like you do not want this to be the face.
You should work out every day.
Yeah.
Like you should
Eat
eat healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should see a doctor. Right. Like
seems pretty obvious until you're like, I got to take that medicine.
I got to do it.
You want me to take the medicine? I'm good. Yeah. So, I mean, we talked, you started doing it. And I was like, oh, he's killing it. Like, that's super solid. I would say COVID really shifted our business model. Like, I can remember when COVID happened, like the early days of COVID, things were shutting down. I was like, collected my staff. I'm like, look, we have a solid reserve. Like, this is going to get ugly. But like, you're still employed here. As long as we're rolling, we're going to roll. And don't worry about, if we can't come into the office, like you're my people. I'll take care of you. Don't stress this.
Yeah. So that's the start of COVID.
Yeah. So
for our industry, the start of COVID was daggone scary, bro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I was like, this could be over.
That late February to like April to tax day, like that like month and a half,
it was
2 months.
Tumbleweeds of like everyone was afraid.
Nothing.
Fear, straight fear. And I was like, look, don't be afraid.
Dude, I pulled out of my 401k.
Me too.
I was just like, give it to me now.
I didn't pull out of my 401k. I pulled all the money that I had in the market. I was like, cash.
Yep.
Like I'm out. Like no. Yeah. It was scary. And so we ended up rolling, right? Like fast forward, like COVID, we rolled.
Skyrocketed.
Yeah, we rolled. That was definitely not a business issue. But it did change the way we did business in the sense that how we used to market to agents, lenders, customers changed, right? Like there was no more like go into a real estate office today and tell me how many agents you see there.
None.
Right. None. Like they're not in their office.
None.
Like even
the office can have 112 agents registered to do business out of it.
Right.
But there's like nobody in the office
physically in
business.
the office. Right.
Yeah.
So how do you meet new potential people to do business with? Right.
Yeah.
Like you're just going to show up to an office and be like, hey, I'm popping by to see Joe. Well, Joe might be there who I do business with, but how I grew my business was popping by to see Joe, and then Joe would be like, hey, meet Cindy and Sarah and John, right? That's how it worked.
Yeah.
And that's how you organically grew your business.
Just through natural connections by
marketing
being
and
around
networking.
and face-to-face with people. Yeah.
100%. Well, guess what? Ended up not happening anymore.
No natural connections.
No more happy hours, no more. Like there were no more events hosted in which you could network. So we had built, we were 14 years in the business, so we were rolling through COVID. That wasn't an issue.
Right.
But fast forward, COVID ends. How do you create more business? Do social media.
Yeah.
So I came to the realization when people started telling me, like, you got to grow your business and you got to go online. Like, you have to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I was super resistant. But the minute someone played that card back to me and was like, you're not going to an office and getting more business. You're going to have to do this.
Yeah.
And so a month ago, I was like, all right, like I got a team in place, a social media team, because I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-mm. And they just were like, hey, you have to be the guy. Like, title's boring. Like, let's be honest. Like you think mortgage is bad?
The only thing less boring than mortgages is title.
I would say I always joke that like of the hierarchy of real estate, the only guy lower than me on that hierarchy scale is like the termite guy. Like the termite guy is the only guy lower than me on that scale of like boring.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how do I talk about title? Title is awful. Well, the team was like, look, you just got to be you.
Yeah.
Like people have to be able to relate to you, and you're super relatable when you're not on the camera. So we just got to like transition that. Let me tell you what a transition being relatable on the camera is. I'm like, if people knew me, they'd be like, I'm out. This guy's a mess.
Yeah.
They're like, no, people got to see, you. So what we're trying to do is really blend my personal page into the business page so that people can kind of see both facets of like who we are.
Yep.
And I hate being the guy, and I hate every moment of the social media game. But I understand the necessity, and so I'm willing to sort of dive right in, and that's what I've kind of done.
Yes, I completely agree with every tactic that you're going there. Really, the biggest piece about it is it may not necessarily be, finding new opportunities, which we have, and I'm sure you have and will, through it, new people that relate to what you're putting out, like what you're doing, and reach out to you. That happens, but that's not like, it doesn't happen like exponentially, right? But it does happen. But the other piece of it that's just extremely valuable is that continual top of mind presence. Right.
It's the Popeye mentality.
It's the, hey, look, don't forget I'm here, right? And I would love for the builders, developers, agents that I work with to focus on that aspect of it, and grow their own presence, right? Just because it is so valuable, and coaching them and getting them past that hump of the awkwardness of this, right?
Oh,
the awkwardness of this right here, and then recording yourself saying something, right? Is huge.
And you're never going to like it.
No, you never like it.
I will say.
Listen, you look like what you look like, right? You sound like what you sound like, right? And if you don't like it, oh well, them's the cards you got dealt, right? Deal with it anyway, because the moment that you go to that listing and they don't have your glamour shot on your business card right there, and you show up as your real you, right? That's you, right? That's how you do business. Like this is what they get. Yeah, they don't. It don't get prettier than this, right?
It does, just not for you.
I am dolled. True story. I am dolled up right now. Right. This is it. Right. This is what I bring to the table, and you know what? Is when people see me people see me in public that I don't even know. Like people honk and they like, hey, they're like, hey, I follow you on socials, gram, and I'm like, it's a little weird. I'm like, great, thank you, right? Because I don't even know who that person is, right? But they see this online, and then they see me at Chick-fil-A or walking down the street, and they're like, are you Nick? I'm like, yeah.
You all about that boost?
Yeah, all about that boost.
Yeah, I mean, I think my message to agents too is as I'm learning, because that's what I'm doing, right? Like the one thing I can say in 17 years of being in business is that I've become a sponge. Like you give me something to learn that's going to be beneficial, and I'm going to dive in. So I'm, like you're never going to figure out the algorithm. Anyone who masters the algorithm is lying to you. But I laugh at all of the ads that I get right now that we've like launched. You get like I'll help you get followers. I'll help you, whatever. And they're like teaching you how to grow your Instagram page, right? And I laugh because you look at half of those accounts and you're like, okay, you have like 1,200 followers.
Yeah.
Like you haven't grown your own account. Yeah. Like you're not killing it, and you're trying to give everyone advice. But my one piece of as a, the owner of 107 followers on Bridge at this point.
107.
Yeah.
I think I followed you the other day.
I appreciate it.
I did. So you were at 106.
We value everybody who follows sincerely. But I would give this piece of advice to agents. Like this is going to be maybe a little controversial, so I got to be maybe poignant in how I say this. But stop with like the still photos of like just listed.
Oh,
it's painful.
It's dull and boring. It is.
Like,
honestly, I mean, you got to get the information out there, but you got to do it better.
Yeah, like that's painful.
You got to
I don't want to like you're getting a thumb up. Like if we are like the Tinder of social media, I'm thumbing you. Like we're out. Like done. I'm thumbing it up. We're scrolling right past that because that's not interesting. Yeah. Like I joked with you.
I mean, unless the picture is like if it's a phenomenal property and it like catches your eye,
maybe.
But like most of the average house is like not,
or just sold. Yeah. Like guys, we got to do better. Like make that a story. Well, like you want to like make your story.
So here's the thing, right? Because agents they're encouraged and they're supposed to, talk about or let the public know of their wins and successes, right?
Sure.
That they're actually out there doing business. Because so many agents don't even do business, right? There's so many people with a daggone real estate license that do maybe one deal a year.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that you've got agents posting, hey, just listed or just sold, kudos. You're doing daggone business. That is great, right?
Right.
But of the agents who do business, right? So you're not competing against the agents who don't do business, right?
Right.
You're competing as an agent on your personal brand against the agents who do business, right? So you got to elevate yourself above the agents who are doing business, right?
Correct.
So you've got to do more than just a still shot, right? You've got to tell a story, right? Like maybe get on and, like you said, put the still shot in your stories, but then link it to a reel or something talking about the transaction, right?
Or,
be interesting.
Or like, give me like a cool feature of the house. Like if this thing has like a bomb
Shelter?
wine cellar. No, like I was going wine cellar. I wasn't bringing it back to your like prepping. I was not gonna. I was definitely not. I was definitely not tracking to like we're gonna.
I was like bomb shelter.
Yeah, I know. I saw you get excited. No, I was gonna say a bomb. Like as in cool wine cellar.
Yeah.
Like the feature that. Like show me something that's cool about the house or a fun fact about the transaction that you just closed. Like, hey, fun fact, whatever. If it was difficult, talk about the difficult transactions.
People are scared to talk about difficult.
Like talk about the ones that fall out. Like talk about the market isn't always roses and sunshine and butterflies because dude, deals are tough and there are deals that you grind and there are properties that are hard to close and there are clients that you don't like. Like talk about the fact that like maybe as an agent, you have to work with people that you don't like. Maybe you have to work, and I'm not saying you got to call out that client and be like, let me just tell you, like Nick Bond, I don't want to work with you because, you're, no, I mean, like you don't have to name a name, but you can be like, look, some clients are difficult.
Some people are.
And it's not always roses and butterflies.
There are just difficult people. Right. All things. And then when they're your client, they are still a difficult person.
100%. They might be the client that texts you at 10 o'clock every night, like, hey, this is my time and I don't care about your time. And like, you're going to answer me right now.
Yeah.
You might have a difficult transaction.
Sometimes that text is critical and it needs to be answered right then and there. But sometimes you have to figure out a boundary for yourself 100%. Professionally and determine that
my family time comes first.
I have a saying, and it goes like this: there's no such thing as a real estate emergency.
We're not practicing rocket science.
I've been doing this for 20 years. I have come across issues that are urgent. Sure. And need attention, but I have never in my life for 20 years come across a real estate emergency.
You mean, wait, no one's ever, like, it's not a life or death situation?
Never
Someone's
once.
home buying process?
Never once.
I know.
Worst case scenario, somebody's homeless. Worst case.
For like a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the exaggeration that we get sucked into because we're in this culture of, like, we have to people please. Like, I have to go above and beyond for my customer to give them this wonderful experience or so that they feel like they're getting this wonderful experience at my own detriment. Like, it's not a wonderful experience. You're just setting the bar to an unattainable height. And now they're going to demand that you're always at that level. Yeah. And that's just not sustainable. And that's why I said, I think, it's important, even for consumers out there, like your real estate agent. Like them. Genuinely like to be
humans.
With them.
They
and
are
if you don't
humans.
like your agent, I would ask, like, why are you working with them?
Right. Find an agent that you like.
100%. Right. And find a loan officer that you like. Don't be like, oh, this guy is like...
This guy's a jerk, but he closes...
stale.
This guy's a jerk, but he closes my deals. There are people who are not jerks who will also close your deals.
Right. Oh, this guy's super dismissive. Like, I just had a customer call me the other day about their agent. And they're like, this guy's like super dismissive. I ask a question and he acts like I'm, not even in the room. And I'm like,
I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I wouldn't do business with someone that I didn't like.
Well, so here's the thing. When I'm talking to agents and I'm talking to them about like doing their social media presence and things like that, I tell them, be your authentic self.
Yeah.
Don't be the fake salesperson. Right? Be who you really are, because you're going to attract people who are attracted to who you really are. If you are that fake sales, like I'm I'm perfect. I'm always on. You can call me 24/7. Whatever minor need you have is my number one top priority at every single time. Now, some of those things may be true, but like, you know how people sell it up, right? If you're selling that or projecting that out, well, then that high anxiety, high need client is the one you're going to attract.
100%.
Right?
And they're going to have the expectation already set because you said it.
Correct.
They're going to be like, well, you should take my call at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night because you said you're on for me whenever I need.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I just think we've gotten so used to having to make everybody happy that we've really put ourselves behind there.
I mean, I'll be blunt. I did that a lot in my own business, right? And it to the detriment of my family and my kids.
100%.
Right?
I did the same thing.
So I tell people now, you know, I have customers or whatever, and they say things like, you know, they say, well, when, you know, if they have questions like, when can I call you back? And my answer is the same always. I say, you can call me whenever. I just might not be able to answer. And if I don't answer, I will call you back as soon as I can.
Right.
Because that is a honest expectation. Like, you can call me at midnight, but I probably ain't answering.
Right.
And I will return your call in the morning.
You call me at midnight, I'm probably answering going, are you dead?
No.
Are you dying?
So listen,
like,
sometimes
what kind of trouble are you in?
My phone, I keep my phone on my nightstand, and it does ring like really late at night. And I'm like
who's calling you at that
time? A lot of people do. Like, a lot of people, like, not that they expect me to answer, but sometimes people just have something on their mind.
Shoot an email.
And they're typically it's clients who are less likely to use email.
Got it.
Right?
I'm tracking.
And they want to get it out, so they call and they leave a voicemail. Right? And it usually starts with, sorry for calling so late, but da 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 da. And then I just call them in the morning. But my wife's always like, who's calling you? I'm like, client. I'm not answering. Don't worry about it.
I get the same response. Like, you know, it's like that glance. Everyone knows it. Like the cut eyes that are just like, how are you going to handle this? It's like they don't have to say much. They just look at you and you're like, I got it.
Got it.
It's under control.
Yeah.
Like, I promise, nothing bad's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, the social media game, like, it's the new market that we're in. You were just, I think, in front of it. And I'm probably really behind it.
No, you're not.
And I look at like other competitors, and I'm not the guy. If someone thinks I'm about to like crap on my competition, I'm not that guy at all. But I do. I mean, I look at some of my competition and what they're doing on social media, and I would say the same thing to them that I say to the agents, like, your page is super stale. Like, congratulations, your pictures of just closed. Yay, you're closing transactions.
But some of those, like, I have some of the competitors that are the same, and some of them, like, professionally, like, they crush it, right?
Yeah.
They're doing a ton of volume. They're doing great business.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm like, dude, like,
I don't want to follow this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to follow. Like, if you're asking me to follow this is not interesting, and you're not telling me any. And I get it, right? Title is boring. And then you get like some of my competitors that like, this is my favorite. Like, they try to like help the agent network and sell. Right? Like your job all of a sudden becomes like, hey, let me tell you how to get more business. Like, that's not your job. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll help my agents and my loan officer whenever I can.
Yeah.
But if you're asking your title company to help you get business, you're probably going to the wrong place.
So I tell agents this. Yeah, I tell agents all the time. Like, I will definitely help, and I will coach agents like one-on-one as far as like it's a business practice of mine, right?
Yeah.
Because if I can help you, then then you will be more successful. You'll be able to do better volume, and it'll turn things around, right? Like, I get it. Like, I want to be a part of.
Yeah, you grow, I grow.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Right. And, but like, just like you mentioned the hierarchy earlier, right? Like, as far as the title is low man on the pole because it's so boring or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Just as I tell agents this all the time because they're like, well, do customers just like walk into your office and stuff? I'm like, no. Nobody wants to talk about their mortgage. Nobody wants to talk about title.
No.
They want to go look at pretty houses.
Right.
They start with the agent.
It's the dream, right? No one's like, I'm dreaming about this 30-year fixed mortgage I'm about to crush.
Right.
No one's dreaming about how I'm taking title. Like, ooh, we're
Right.
married. Tenants by the entirety. Super interesting.
Tenants by entirety.
Super interesting.
Super interesting. Yeah.
Right.
No one's like, now, I mean, if given the option of, 5.75 versus 6.25 on their interest rate.
Yeah.
All right, let's lean towards 5.75. But no one's out there scrolling through interest rates. Right?
They're not looking to follow the guy who's giving them the rate update every day. Like,
Right.
Congratulations, the bond market's flat today.
The T-bill is up 12 basis
The pregnant
points.
pause afterwards, like, rates are the same.
Rates are the same.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people care. I
People
shouldn't
care.
say no one cares
All right,
about
so-
rates.
all right, people-
No one wants to follow the guy who literally every day is telling you the same thing. Like, rates are
Right.
the same. Probably going to be the same tomorrow.
Today's, and I do have a daily rate email that I send out. Like
It's not a lead into like
This
your
is-
marketing is terrible.
This is you're Nick, you suck. What are you doing? Right? But it's true, right? Well, because some people in the business want to know what the
Sure.
market is doing so that
100%.
when they're in the field with a client, they can speak educated about it, right?
100%.
That is different than the consumer.
And different than your socials, right? Like
Yeah.
you're sending out a rate update.
Correct. To people that we're already engaged with.
You're not like literally making a daily story or reel of you videoing yourself giving the rate update. I mean, maybe if the Fed like
Conventionals at 6.01, FHAs at 5.75, VAs 5.5 with 1.25 points, APR 7.23. No, we're not doing that.
That's super interesting, though. I bet you get a lot of unfollows. Like, and this used to be a fun place to go. Like, I think this is where agents maybe are missing it. People are scrolling on social media, just going to be blunt, to be entertained. Like, it's an entertainment thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it can be educational, but you have to understand how to bring the education with interest. And to be authentically you has to mean that it can't be all business all the time.
Right.
Like one of the things that I think you do so well is mixing up the fact that you can do your alpaca open house, which made me cry, laugh. And then you can also like this or that, something that's pretty funny, or, you can have a react video to something that's not real estate related, and it keeps it interesting because genuinely you're a funny guy. I know you outside of your persona on social media, which is literally the same guy that it isn't on social media. Like it's genuinely you. Like I can laugh. I mean, I can micromanage everything and I can hyper analyze and be like, oh, Nick's trying hard on this one. Fine. But it's only because I know you. Like I know you well enough on and off camera.
Yeah.
But I think so many agents could really get some value sincerely out of just being themselves.
Being themselves, yeah.
Like,
and
genuine.
it's okay, you can be yourself and still do 4 takes.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, it happens to me all the time. Like, if you think we're take oneing, get out of here.
no.
My social media team laughed at the first attempt. Literally, my first attempt at a reel, 17 takes.
Yeah.
A 10-second reel. 17 takes. And it was really in that moment when they were like, just talk. Stop starting and stopping. Just go. And it's taken me a long time, and I'm by no means a master at this. It is a mess.
Yeah.
But I'm much better at just being able to pick up where I fumbled my words and like, okay, I'm starting at that point, and you'll clip it out, and like that's your job because it's not my job because it would be bad.
Thank you, Tawan.
Yeah, I mean, like behind the scenes social media teams, I mean, the shout out to them because it's bad enough when you got to look at me on camera.
Yeah.
But to make it funny, relatable, however, I mean, that's really what we're trying to do on our page is title's boring. Like no one wants to.
So, all right. So you said title's boring several times, right? So I get that. All right. We all know title's boring. I want to hear a interesting story about a closing. So I don't want to say your worst. I don't want to say your best. Give me a story, and this is on the spot. This is not prepped.
Definitely not
So
prepped.
I need you to start digging into your
I
wheelhouse.
definitely have
there.
one that's definitely recent. And it
All
was
right.
definitely a mess of a transaction.
All right, what's the deal? What happened?
Mess of a transaction. We represent, our law firm represents the seller of a transaction. Buyer is represented by a different law firm.
Okay.
We find out the seller is a foreign international.
Okay.
So foreign, they're from China. They're in China. So they're not in the US.
So they're physically in China.
They're physically living and domiciled in China.
Okay.
Currently also present in China.
Gotcha.
Not that big of a deal, right? Except they can't fly back here.
Okay.
Great. So we have FIRPTA, which means there's foreign international real estate tax due. It's under the threshold, so it's a percentage that we have to take on the front end without getting into the weeds. We have to collect on behalf of the government a tax. So in talking with them, the client can't open our title software
because it's blocked by China.
By Chinese internet restrictions.
Yeah.
So they can't open it. We're communicating via an email situation, different apps that we can use. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. The agent is getting frustrated with the whole process, not really understanding. I'm at sort of the other title company and attorney involved made it a little more difficult because they had different requirements than maybe I would have required.
Okay.
But I don't have any control over that. They're underwriting the file.
And they're representing the buyer. You're representing the seller.
And so they are the quote-unquote settlement agent,
Yeah.
and they're the ones whose underwriting guidelines we have to abide by.
Correct, yes.
And so I'm kind of stuck at their behest to do sort of what they need done.
They're issuing the title insurance.
So
they're doing
I'm
all
collecting
stuff.
the documentation that they want, and everyone's a little frustrated in the deal. Well, fast forward, like they can't e-close
No.
because it's blocked by the Chinese internet restrictions.
Right.
They can't fly back here. We can't notarize documents remotely in China because China's not a part of the agreement for international notarization.
Oh.
So I'm like at wit's end. I'm like, I don't know how to get these. If they're not willing to come back to the US, I don't know how to close these people. It just so happened that I have a Chinese investor who's a tight client of mine who I was closing that very same day that I was frustrated. And I'm kind of explaining it. And they're like, hey, insider pro tip. And I'm like, what? Have them go to an American-based hotel. They don't have the same internet restrictions and jump on their Wi-Fi.
Oh.
And I was like, light bulb. Bang. So we e-closed them.
Great.
In the Marriott.
In the Marriott.
So it was a good ending, but like it was a mess.
Wow.
Like, and that was the first time in my 17 years of business ownership that I was like really hitting a wall of like, I don't know how I'm going to get this thing closed.
So American hotels have open internet.
I don't know that they're fully open, but they're more open.
Okay.
And have less governmental restrictions.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting. I'm like, pro tip.
Insider pro tip.
Solid.
Good job.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was definitely one of the more difficult transactions recently.
Okay.
Not that interesting. Again, it's title.
Not
Pretty boring.
Yeah. So basically, everything you just said came down to there was a guy selling a house. He couldn't sign the documents. We solved it.
Right. That's pretty much the story of any difficult transaction in title. That's pretty much the overview. Couldn't get it done. Patrick got it done. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the ones who just get it done.
So that's kind of an insider slogan that you bring up. So over the years, you know Michelle in my office really well. And one of our competitors, their slogan is, we say yes.
Okay.
And so we always kind of chuckled at this slogan, like, we say yes. Well, what if it can't be done? You still say yes? Like, you can't just say yes to everything.
You can't say yes to everything.
And it was, I was
saying yes to everything makes you a bad parent.
I was in my office. I don't know if I can curse on your podcast or if it can get bleeped out. So we can bleep it out. So I was in the office one day frustrated, and I was like, all these, like, everyone's got a slogan, like, you know, all the famous ones, you know, Burger King, have it your way. I'm like, Bridge, we just get shit done.
There you go.
Like, we just get it done.
That's it.
And it kind of grew as our internal, like, we don't care what other people's, like, we just send it and I'll get it done. Is what the gist of it came down to. And like, we're a boutique firm, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're a small firm. You deal directly with the owners when you come to us. It's either Chris, myself, or my staff. I think the shortest tenured person on my staff is like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
The shortest tenure. And then you have like Michelle, who's been with me like 15 years of my 17. So you have this long staff. And I'm not beholden to shareholders. Like a lot of my competition now, and again, I'm not here to down any other competitor. I mean, we all kind of at this end of the day do the same job. I mean, we're underwriting title, we're approving it, you're issuing clear title and giving insurance, right? That's what we do.
Well, these are the issues where it's the small things that come down to the reason why someone would select to work with you versus work with somebody else or competitor XYZ, and those small things come down to do I like you?
Right. We're not a corporation. Like
right.
You don't have to. I'm not beholden to a shareholder who's coming down and looking at a bottom line. Like, yeah, you're going to do business at the end of the day with people that you like, and that's the way I want to do it. Like, I know you're in the same exact position as I am because we've had similar clients, the same clients that we've both been like, okay, these are not my people.
Oh, yeah,
like these are definitely not my people.
They can use someone else next time.
Right. Yeah. And I think we've openly kind of told similar clients, like, well, maybe we're not the right fit for you.
Right.
Like, that's my polite way of basically telling you, I don't want to do business with you.
Right.
And that's okay. And it's okay that some people don't want to do business with me. Like, my feelings don't get hurt. It's not an ego thing if someone's like, yeah, I really don't like Patrick. Well,
right.
I am who I am. And if you want to do business with someone you like, I understand that you might not like me.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay with me. Like, my ego is not bruised if someone doesn't like me. I assure you, I will still get up the very next, well, God willing, I will still get up the very next day and march on about my business, even if someone doesn't like me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a message that a lot of agents have to, you have to be willing to say, like, okay, this client, like, the juice is not worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
I know you've done it. Like,
yeah,
I'm good.
You have to, right? Like, I had a purchaser.
Difficult deal. I like this.
Difficult deal. Yeah, probably about 4 months ago. And the purchaser, you just have that person who just makes it difficult because they feel entitled, right? And they're, not to stereotype, but sometimes those are more wealthy clients, right? Who feel that the rules that the government sets in place don't apply to them. Right.
Yeah.
And they're yelling, they're cursing, they're cursing at the staff, right? And we jump through all the hoops, right, for them. I get exceptions for them that I should not have been able to get.
Right.
To
and they're still unhappy.
Unhappy, right? And then a couple fast forward 2 months and they text me and they say, hey, I hear rates have dropped, what would a rate be for a refinance? And I literally just said, I don't think I'm the right fit for you, right? Like it's
right, like I already did one deal, it was ugly.
Yeah, I think I will gladly help place you with another competitor in my brand, in my office at Movement or whatever. Like, if you want to do business with us, great. But I can't put my staff, my team, through dealing with you again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we don't talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Like on our sides, that agents don't necessarily really can appreciate. And that's like when a customer is hard on your staff, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, my staff is not at your beck and call.
Right.
Like, you do not get to be rude or disrespectful to my staff,
right,
who at a minimum deserve your respect.
Right.
You don't have to like what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're not disrespectful or rude to you. It doesn't give you the right.
And here's the thing. Trust me. The first time you were short with them, they didn't want to have to come back to you again.
Right.
Right?
Like, they don't want to deliver bad news. Like, I'm sorry that you have judgments that have to be paid.
I'm sorry that you, exactly.
Sorry you didn't pay your bills.
Right, yeah, exactly.
We're just delivering the news that now you have to.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't give you carte blanche to be rude to them. They're not the creditor.
Right.
You want to get mad at Chase Card Services for you not paying your bill? By all means.
Exactly.
Here's the 800 number.
Here's the number.
Feel free.
Go off on them.
Equally, they didn't do it either. You didn't pay your bill. Like some
sometimes you don't throw that seed in there.
Like
you just
self-reflection.
Yeah.
And I think we're lacking in so many ways of that. But
it's because everybody is treated as a commodity, right? Even though what we offer is a commodity, but the people who offer it are not a commodity.
Yeah.
Right? We offer a service, but the people are not the service, right? The people are real people, right?
Yeah. Well, real people I wanna ask the host here a question.
All right.
Because your girls are just a touch ahead of my oldest.
Yes.
Like just a touch. And
Yep.
you have one that's in college.
I do.
I want to touch on, like, my oldest is 14.
Okay.
And it makes me nauseous because we're freshmen in high school and those
Yep.
years are like right around the corner. And,
Yep.
and I mean, we have a lot in common. Like, dad is a protector. Like, I want to protect my kids like no other. How is it when your oldest, like, takes that first step?
It's tough.
Step out.
It's tough, right? So, all right. So we had the conversations with her, right? Like, just pure safety, just like, because,
Yeah.
I knew where she grew up. It was not a rough neighborhood, right? So
You mean you might have made her a little soft?
might have made her, a little overconfident.
Yeah, I
right?
get it.
And she, so we have, my wife's had to talk with her. I've had to talk with her. Like, go anywhere you go with a buddy, right? She's got the mace, she's got the alarms, right? She's got all the things like on her, on her gear, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere you go with a buddy. Just, keep yourself protected at all times. And funny story, she went on vacation with a friend not too long ago, just before going away to school. And they were with her family, and the two of them had wandered along to the beach or whatever, and they went into they snuck into a club. That's what they did.
Solid.
Right?
That's
solid
like stuff that I would do as a kid.
Solid stuff.
This is the stuff I worry about.
But she communicates it. She like tells us as it's happening.
Oh, like she's texting you like, hey, we just snuck into a club?
Great, we snuck into a club. They're playing Snoop Dogg. Like, it was like
proud and
it was like a
worried
cover
all at the same time.
Right? Like, it was a cover band, and I was like, all right, like, I'm just
thanks for the honesty.
Thanks you, but like, probably don't hang out there. Okay, you did it. You checked the box. Get on back to the house, right? And she was like, I can take care of myself. Oh. And I was like, no, baby. You to a degree, you can, but you really can't, right? Like, you're a girl, right? No offense to very strong women out there, right? But you're a girl, right? And if two girls decide to jump you, you're going down, right? If one average guy decides that he wants to harm you, you may not get really harmed, but you're gonna get harmed, right?
You're not winning.
You're not, yeah, right? And I'm like, I know we've watched Black Widow 100 times, right? I need you to recognize your frailty. It's a beautiful frailty, right? God made you that way.
Ooh.
I need you to recognize it and be sharper up here.
Right. And realize dad can't rescue you in this situation.
I can't get there in time, right? Same concept with her away at school, right? Now, I will say this. We dropped her off a month ago, okay? Mm-hmm. I've been there twice. My wife's been there twice, and she's going again on Wednesday, right? Like,
solid. So are you feeling like what's the phrase? Helicopter parenting? Are you feeling
No, we're not feeling like we're feeling like we're giving her enough space.
Okay.
And it's been she like I think it's just enough space. Now, I do monitor her Life 360 like a hawk, right? And I get the alerts, and it's like, Ava has left Ava's dorm, right? Mm-hmm. At like 10 o'clock at night, and I just
shake your head like,
I just
nothing
let it
good
go.
is happening.
I don't say nothing. I just monitor. The job now at this point for her is not necessarily to parent, but it's shifting into more of just advisor.
I know, like, this is my fear, right?
Yeah.
Because, I only have 6 of these things to get through.
Yeah. Can you give me all their date of births?
No. I joke all the time. Like, when you have 6 kids, like, the hardest question that anyone's ever going to ask you, like, my wife is 100% rolling her eyes and thinking that I'm the world's worst husband and father when I say this. But other dads of large families, I hope, can maybe come to my aid here. You go pick up a prescription, and the first question that the person asks you is name and date of birth. And I'll be like, I got this. Like, all right, it's July 4th. That's an easy one to remember. And then I'm like, well, you got to give me a second because I got to carry some zeros here because I got to like work the age backwards to figure out
the year.
Like, it's 15, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, right? They're like, yeah, like looking at me like I'm the world's worst father. I'm like, look, I have 5 others of those to remember, so it's not exactly the easiest.
Right.
Plus a wife.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like. My wife's like, it's the dog's birthday. I'm like, he is not even a thought in my head, right? Like, nope, I got nothing.
The dog could disappear for a week. I wouldn't notice.
I only made the mistake of texting Danielle one time in the line and being like, what's the year again? She was like, really? I was like, no, I got it. I
figured it out.
That was like a test of the emergency broadcasting system, and I got it. You cutting me out.
Socials are hard too, right? And I only have 2 of them. Bro. Like anytime I need to look up the kid's social, I like gotta like go back to like I gotta like pull tax files and stuff.
I gotta ask my wife. I'm just like, you're gonna have to give that to me.
Yeah,
it's
tough.
Yeah, I mean, date of births, names, but I'm like literally afraid of the coming years and like that next phase of life for my daughter because she's already 14 going on 40.
Yeah.
And I just am like, okay, I'm doing my best, but I feel like, that whole like my job as a father is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And now it's like totally the trust in like, all right, like God, you're in control of this, and now I have to really lean on the fact that I've done what I can and like.
Yeah. So but the crazy thing is he was always in control.
No doubt. I mean, I'm not insinuating that.
I'm not correcting you theologically here.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know, like he was always in control, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I will say as a very positive, I can already tell it in kind of the way that I talk to and or the way that I'm trying to talk and communicate to my younger one, Leah. Is that when Ava left, like I see that, right? But then I got Leah in sophomore in high school, as I said, and I didn't understand it when Ava went to high school. I didn't understand it as much. I understand the how fast 4 years is. I understand it more now that I'm watching Ava go and grow. I'm understanding it so much more now, and I'm looking at Leah, and I'm like, I don't want
to. How do you spell love? Time, bro.
Oh, okay.
Like, and it's so finite.
Yeah.
Like so finite. Like we talk about wealth building and all that. Give me time.
I know.
Because the minute you have your first kid, dude, it is on fast forward. Like it's like you hear, like I can remember as a young parent, like I can really remember like all the we called them like veteran parents, right? The parents that were on like the tail end. Yeah, it goes.
Enjoy it.
It's just I wish I could have all that time back, and now I'm like,
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I got a high schooler. Where did that happen?
Yeah,
and I have a 1-year-old, so where I'm like,
you're gonna have I got a 4-year stretch. You got a 9-year stretch between, departure and boarding and departure.
Like, yeah, I mean, so like life just moves.
But you're not done having kids, I don't think. You got
whatever happens,
6 or 7 more to go.
I don't know if the good Lord will bless us with that many. Just because I think, time again is finite and we're aging. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, we leave. I mean, we could.
There you go.
We could. Although
every time one kid moves out,
I've heard
adopt another one in, just like a rotation.
Like this would be like the Rogan. Like I need to Google that, but I've heard that the state frowns upon large families adopting, which is sad.
For what purpose? Like, they think that you can't handle it?
Have the same attention levels. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, which is really sad because, I mean, I'd like to think, our house is a pretty awesome place for a lot of kids. I mean, not to go into the weeds, but I can remember there was a situation at our church in which someone called the church and talked to the pastor and said, if you don't find us a family, I'm going to abort our child. We found out our child has Down syndrome, and we're going to abort if you don't find a family. And I'm trying not to get emotional when I say this, but my wife called me, and she's like, I already called him and said, we'll take it. Yeah. Like, that's just how we operate is, like, if there's someone in need, we're we're going to like step up. And so you hear those things like, oh, you could adopt. Yeah. And then you hear like you have too many kids to adopt. And you're like, really? Like, is that what it's about? Like, cause I'm about the TIME love.
Right.
And I say that, right? But I'm like the worst example of that sometimes. You know, like
I get it.
Like the guy that you get home from a long day and you're just like, I could really just use some no attention.
Right.
Like, could you just not?
I need a cone of silence for like 45 minutes just to
And I'll say, like, sometimes our Lord is the best at like reminding you of exactly what you need, because on those days it's usually like the 1-year-old that's like, Daddy, I love you.
I know.
And you're like, all right, like this is like life's good.
So listen, you know this, and you're seeing it happen. Like the Daddy, I love you. Like enjoy that, bro, because it very much quickly becomes, hey, what's up?
Yeah. Not only that, but I remember like not that long ago, like just like I was going to give my oldest a hug, right? And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just trying to hug you. You know that thing that we used to do all the time?
Right.
That now you're like, too cool for school? Yeah, dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, like watching them grow up and like find their way. Ooh.
This stuff.
I miss the daddies.
Yeah.
I still have it on the young ones.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Time.
It is time. Well, speaking of time.
Yeah.
Our time is up.
Yeah, it's been a blast,
Right.
man.
But I appreciate you.
We're probably way over.
Segue into that. Right. I appreciate you coming by today, man. It's been a blessing to catch up with you.
Yeah, let's do it again.
It was really great. I appreciate it.
Now I got to bring you like up to Woodbridge so that we can like do something in our office, and then I get to interview you so that people can watch like double my followers. Like I'll get you
4.
following. Yeah, I mean, like we'll start a YouTube channel, and I'll be like, subscriber number 1 was Nick. Solid. We've doubled. Thanks for coming on the show.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I really do. Thanks for the support, and
always a brother.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man.